What's going on, people? How y'all doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. As you know, we are here live and in color. So, that was yesterday. That was yesterday. Yeah, here we are. Live and in color. What's going on, people? Welcome, 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 welcome. Okay. Welcome to our new day. Today, I'm having some trouble with my software, and since my brother left, it's like the craziest thing in the world. So yes, I am. I am on YouTube. I didn't put it down on my listing. Let me do that. I should have done that first because today I just want to talk. Today I just want to talk. I am on YouTube, so join me on youtube.com. .com / Higher Talk. Okay. Yes, I am there, and that's pinned there. So, today, what are we going to talk about? Today, my wife has a cute pillow right here. There's a cute pillow right here. Today, what are we going to talk about? Today, I want to talk about follow through. Follow through is where we're going to deal with today. Follow through. A lot of us are actually in situations where we wonder why there is no success to what we're doing, why there is no movement to what we're doing, what's going to actually happening in our lives. And a lot of that is about follow through. And so today we're going to talk about follow through. And I want to talk about it because with me, follow through is probably one of the detrimental things that happen in my spiritual life and my personal life. So that's what follow through actually is. And so within follow through, you find yourself in a position where you're trying to understand, how did I get from here to here, and how do I get from there to there? Or, you try to figure out what's your movement, what's the mechanism of your movement. And so what I'm learning is success is not just about the parts of the spiritual man that you know. It's about understanding what your true destination is and following it through. It's just that. It's just understanding that. And what I'm learning as I begin to grow in the things that are happening, what's going on, Dave? And the things that are beginning to happen, I realize that success and spirituality have such a correlation. It's amazing. It is amazing because a lot of times what happens with us is we find ourselves hoping that something can happen, and we say we believe it, and we say we trust it, but we don't really put action behind it. And it's kind of like a spiritual thing. We say we believe stuff, and we say that we want things to happen, and what happens to us is we don't follow it through like we believe it. We just don't. We don't follow it through like we believe it. And the reason we don't follow it through like we believe it, because for all practical purposes, we honestly don't. We don't believe. You have to understand that when you begin to deal with the deepest parts of your psyche, and when you begin to deal with the parts of your mind that really need to be addressed pertaining to a certain situation, you're going to have to realize that what you're doing is actually a type of faith. It's a type of belief system that you have to do. Now, there is a passage, I brought my Bible today. There is a passage in the Bible, that says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not into your own understanding. And so from that point, I have to tell you guys something. Okay. What you're going to find out in religion is most of us have been taught Old Testament transition. We haven't been taught spirituality. We've been taught Old Testament transition. And what is Old Testament transition? That means we take Old Testament laws and we transition them and we put them in a position where they apply to presently, when in actuality they actually don't. So we that's what we've been taught. We've been taught that tithing is a real thing. We've been taught that Offering is a real thing. We've been taught all these different things that are actually what we believe are real things, but aren't actually real things. For example, there's something called perpetual law and circumstantial law. Now, what's perpetual law and circumstantial law? Perpetual law is something that's perpetual. No matter when it is and where it is, it's always going to be the same. For example, what goes up must come down. That is a law that's perpetual. Wherever you are, what goes up must come down. Wherever you are, that the law of water is wet. Water is wet. No matter how you slice it, water is wet. Those are perpetual laws. And so what happens is when you look in the Bible or you look under spiritual law, they're under those two categories. Spiritual law is perpetual law and circumstantial law. The key to the different laws is understanding that with perpetual law, it's going to go from Genesis all the way to Revelation and beyond. That's perpetual law. But what you're going to get with circumstantial law is it's going to start where you are and move to wherever circumstantial law requires. For example, I am the tallest man in the room. That is a statement of truth, and it is a statement that applies to this perfect things. So if you come into my house, bow to the tallest man is a law that I set in my house, and it's a circumstantial law because as long as I'm the tallest man, I'm the person you bow to. You follow me? But the moment that someone taller comes in, that perpetual law no longer applies. Does that make sense? Now, why am I saying that? I'm saying that because what happens to a lot of us, we've been living on circumstantial laws, believing they're perpetual laws. One of those laws is tithing. One of those laws is tithing. And now, I need you guys to write this down too. So let me get my pencil and my pen out. I'm going to show you how to do this thing. Okay? All right. Okay. So, write down, never mind. We're going to write their perpetual laws. There's perpetual laws. There's circumstantial laws. So to see. There's circumstantial laws. Okay? And then, when you look at perpetual law, look at circumstantial law, you look at those things at the moment that they should apply. They apply to you. So you look at perpetual law, circumstantial law, and you realize that those laws are there. And all those laws, with the circumstantial law, it's also progressive. Yeah, it's also progressive. So that means that a circumstantial law is pouring into, and I'm kind of going into this thing in a different way. Circumstantial law pours into a perpetual law, but perpetual laws never point into circumstantial laws. Why? Perpetual laws are always perpetual. They're always there, and they're always going to happen, and they're always going to be where they are. Now, why am I saying this? So many of you already know, and if you don't know, you'll know today. Many of you already know that we're moving towards some things, and I'm going to talk about myself today. I'm going to talk about me. I'm not going to talk about anybody else. Today, I learned. So today, it was the first day that I realized. Today, the first day I realized that I was in a different situation and not to do things in the old way. The young lady that does the writing for us called me up this morning and said, "Hey, I need you to finish the 2 chapters." And I said, "Okay, I'll finish the 2 chapters." And she said, "No, the reason you don't finish the 2 chapters is because you get started with something and you don't finish that thing." And I'm like, "Okay, I understand that." The challenge was not to getting started and not finishing. You know what the challenge actually was? The challenge was, how do you address all the things that are coming to your mind? And this is where we're going today. How do you address all the things that go into your mind? You could be talking to somebody. How do you address that? And you look at a person like myself and you go, do you procrastinate? I don't procrastinate. How do I address the fact that I have this great idea, and I have all these notebooks up here. I have this great idea. I have this great idea. I have these great ideas. And how do you address them? How do you address them? And so you learn this system. And so now I'm teaching you this system, and I'm going to help you out with this system. Spiritually, you have to understand there's a beginning and an end to something. But you got to realize this one law. Never forget this law. One plants, one waters, God gives the increase. Now, it doesn't actually say it like that. But if you look at the circumstances by which Paul is talking about, that is what he's saying essentially. But here's the key. One plants and one waters. Now, water means the development of whatever the idea is. So when you understand that there is something going on, you have the ability to develop that idea at a level that can transition the seed, whatever you've planted. So when you put a seed in the ground, I showed you guys just the other day the onion. When you put the onion in the water, it begins to transition its own shape. But hear me, it transitions its own shape so that it can begin to be the next shape. So that onion may not be the same shape, but it's transitioning so to become the next shape. And whatever the next shape is, that's the shape that we're going to deal with. And so now you're looking at this thing and going, okay, what's happening? There are things that are happening in your life, and hear me prophetically as well as you hear me spiritually. There are things that are happening in your life right now. And the reason you haven't reached the places that you reached, number one, your consciousness is not developed in the direction of change. Your consciousness is still connected to your past and your present. I'm telling you. My brother talked about yesterday, my Minister Haynes talked about yesterday. He said, sometimes you are connected to the child that you are. And so what happens is your safety place is the place where you're a child. Some of you guys, your safety place is not the child. Some of your places, that place where you go to your church and you're able to sing, that place where you got gratitude and you were appreciated for this thing. You were appreciated because you could sing. You were appreciated because you could dance, you could play. And what happens is what you are defining yourself by was the efforts necessary to do whatever this thing is. Yeah, to do whatever this thing is. Join me on YouTube. You don't join me on YouTube and ask me that same question on YouTube because I can't look down and read it. So what happens to me? So now what happens to me is the validation of the ability to do what I know how to do. And so what do I know how to do? I know how to teach. I know how to write. I know how to read. I know how to create. So if I'm reading, writing, creating, and I'm at this point creating, another creative thought takes place. Another creative thought takes place. You follow me? The creative thoughts begin to take place, and when the creative thoughts begin to take place, now I look like I am distracted, which I actually am. But I also look like I'm procrastinating, which I actually am, but I'm not really procrastinating. What happens is you feel you have to find out what's the thing that's going to bring the result that you're looking for it to bring. For example, if you want a car and you're working DoorDash, and DoorDash is not making you enough money, so if somebody else calls you up and say, hey, why don't you do this, and you feel like that's making you more money, you in turn over and grab that thing. And so now you're doing the DoorDash and doing this thing, but you're not still bringing up the amount of money. Why? Because hear me very closely. What you're doing right now has a destination, and until you reach that destination, you're kind of in the middle of it, slowly moving toward when there was a timing for you to move toward it. Now, what do I mean by that? Okay, so you have DoorDash, and you're making $1,000 a week on DoorDash, hypothetically. You need $2,000 a week, but you're making $1,000 a week on DoorDash. But and right now it's July. In August, you don't know that DoorDash is going to double payment. So what happens is in August, you'll make $2,000, which will line up with where you want to be anyway. Does that make sense? And so what happens is by you slowing down DoorDash, you now have split your attention, and what the focus that was necessary to bring you what you wanted is now divided amongst other things. Does it make sense? See, we don't like to follow through. And the reason we don't like to follow through is because what's really happening in our lives is we are struggling, and we're in the desperation mode. You follow me? We're in the desperation mode. And so when we're in the desperation mode, what we end up doing is trying to do things desperately, and what we're doing is saying we don't trust God. And we don't say it in the purest sense of the word. We don't say it in the fact that we just don't trust God. We don't trust the process that has been given to us by God. That is the lack of prayer, and that's the lack of meditation. That's what that is. That's just the bottom line. And I know how it looks that way, but it's just the bottom line. We don't trust that God is who God says it is. And I know we don't, because I've been there. Right now, I have books that need to be completed, and I have books that need to be completed. The class, the spiritual, I actually came up with the name, the Mechanics of Spiritual Power. The class, the Mechanics of Spiritual Power, that class has to be completed. And so what happens is you now have to put yourself in a position where you complete something, because if you don't complete it, the fruit of that thing will never happen. And we are so struck in time because society tells us you're getting old, you're getting young, you're getting fat, you're getting skinny. And it has to keep you in desperation, because as long as you stay in desperation, I can control your movement. Because all I got to do is bring you another moment of desperation. And listen, those things are hardwired into your mind. So what you have to do is start making hardwire movement. It's me, I'm telling you. You have to make hardwire movement. The reason I keep Instagram on and I also keep YouTube on is because I need to make hardwire movement. So, but I don't want to lose my Instagram people because I want to be the YouTube. And you have to make hardwire movement. What do you want to do? Where do you want to be? You got to make a hardwire movement to get there. You want to be wealthy? Make a hardwire movement to be wealthy. What is that? That means you dedicate yourself to the process until the process is done. You don't dedicate yourself to anything else. You dedicate yourself to the process until the process is done. Why? Because the process, every process you begin, one plants, one waters, God gives the increase. So if one plants, one waters, and God gives the increase, every process you begin has to get to a point where God gives increase. Every process. And so what you have to realize is, if you are in your point of understanding your process where you're trying to start, you have to do the development part. And the development part is not just your effort. It's being aware, and I wish I had enough time to teach this like I really wanted to. It's being aware of everything that's around that's made available to what you desire. You follow me? Everything around you that's made available to what you desire. Example. So back to the whole situation where the DoorDash thing. You have three, and I told you guys this, you have three distinct categories. You have category 1, which is the spiritual category, which is the spiritual level. You have category 2, which is the mental level, and the category 3, which is the physical level. And those are the three things. If you can line them up with Father, Son, Holy Ghost, you can line up with one plants, one water, God gives the increase. All these things, that triangle mechanism is what's actually placed inside of you. So you want to make $1 million, or you're doing this DoorDash thing. So you want to do DoorDash. While you're doing DoorDash, what you need to understand is that once you start DoorDash, that thing is going from your spirit into your mind. And what your mind is doing is developing an avenue by which to master the DoorDash move. Okay. It's to master the DoorDash move. And I'm telling them, this is me. I'm teaching the same thing to me. So when I get to the point of doing the class, my challenge with doing the class is the fact that I want the class to be so perfect. Plus, I don't want the class to be so expensive. What I'm doing is I'm outthinking the people that need the class. Hear me, guys. I'm outthinking the people that need the class. And so what happens is people are suffering because they are waiting for the class, and I'm still trying to figure out how to make the class the way I think the class should be, because I don't believe the process. I don't believe that there will be a number of people that take this class at this level. So I'm trying to make this class a class that I know everybody will say, no, I will take this class. Okay. So let me get this on here because this really hurts. So that I will take this class. Okay. So am I procrastinating? No, I'm not procrastinating. What I am is I'm outthinking the process. How many of you have outthought the process? You're just going, and what happens is you either outthink the process in one direction. You either outthink it positively or you outthink it negatively. Either outthink it positively or you outthink it negatively. Now, why? Because when you're outthink it positively, you just go, I know it's going to work, but you start trying to do everything in the world to make sure it works, but you know it's going to work. Negatively, you're like, man, this ain't going to work. This is not going to work. And what happens to you is you find yourself in a position where you now are stuck right here. Because the more you run out of the position and come back, the more you never move. It's like getting out of the car and getting back in, getting out of the car. You're doing a lot of movement, but the car never moves. You get out the car and get back in, get out of the car. You say, what are you doing? Dude, I'm getting in the car. No, you're not getting in the car. What you're doing is spending time in this position because you're not ready to move to the next position. Say that again. Spending so much time in this position, you're not ready to move to the next position. And this is the thing that happens. The moment, listen to me very closely, the moment you decide to do what Willis said that your spirit is said to do, the answer to the question is at the end of the process. The moment you decide to do what the spirit has laid on your heart, the answer to the question is at the end of the process. And what happens is the hustling that you're doing now to produce something that's supposed to be sweatless causes you to sweat more, and now the effort locks into your desperation, and now you feel like you have to do certain things. You feel like you have to do certain things. And when you feel like you have to do certain things, what you'll find yourself doing is cutting your nose off despite your face. I understand the formula of getting things done. I do. I really do. What I don't understand is why, and this is not you, this is me. Why do I get to this point and I slow down this whole mechanism? And I understand it, but that's not true. I do understand it. What I understand is this. Some of you are in two kind of places. You're in places too good to be true. Or you're in places where you're going, this can't be the rest of my life. There's some of you that are in, man, this is too good to be true. But then there's some of you that said, this can't really be my life. And you have to get to that point. You've got to get to the point where you go, this cannot be my life. And when you realize that this can't be your life, what you're going to realize, my friend, is that you have enough power to get out of it. You are so powerful that nothing can stop you. You're all the way out. Nothing can slow you down. But the key that has to happen is, I've got to kill you with kindness. I've got to kill your movement with kindness. So what does that mean? What does that mean? I don't tell you that you can't build an airplane. I just give you something else that's easier for you to accept so that you won't build the airplane. I don't tell you that you can't make the money. I just give you a responsibility that will not make you as much money, because in that you feel fulfilled because you feel like you're doing something in your fleshly level, helping the old lady across the street, helping your mother pay bills, you feel like you've done that. And because you feel like you've done that, you feel like you've accomplished something, when the whole time it was simply a detour to stop you from doing the thing that would bring you the most power and the most satisfaction. And so you don't do it. Bring you the most power and the most satisfaction. That's what's happening. And I'm watching this trying to happen to me. And so what happens is you start thinking about the stuff that you need to do and all the situations you need to fix and all the circumstances you need to change. You start thinking about all this stuff. And once you think about all this stuff, you're sitting there looking like, dog, I need more money, or dog, I need more help, or dog, I need more, whatever I need more of. And so when you get to that point, you start going, you know what, this class is not going to produce what the class needs to produce. But I'm going to tell you something that happened to me, that happened in my spirit 2 days ago. I was in my prayer, my meditation time. And while I was there, just kind of by myself, I was going over the mechanics of spiritual power. I was going over the mechanics of spiritual power, which is the class. That's what it's called. And I was going over the class, and I was going, wow. And at one moment, I heard the Spirit of God say this to me. He said, stop calculating what you get and start calculating what you're giving. I need y'all to hear me. Stop calculating what you will get and start calculating what you'll give. It was crazy when it stop calculating what you can get and start calculating what you can give. Why? Because the moment you calculate what you can give, the number of people that need your answer or your remedy or the problem or the challenge fixed, they become more important. And now your mindset is toward the helping of that person instead of what is that person going to offer me. So I already know now what the class is going to cost, and what I'm going to do with the class is I'm going to discount the class for those that sign up first, because I got to get you to a point that you respond in the spirit and stop responding in the flesh. Now, what does that mean? That means that you have to respond at the release of the spirit and not respond at the acceptance of your flesh. Say that again. You got to respond at the release of your spirit. The release of your spirit. You follow me? At the release of your spirit. And not the acceptance of your flesh. Okay? I'm writing that down so you guys remember. And what does that mean? That means right now, if I called and I said, okay, I got the class and the class is $1,000, and you know you need the class, you do it. Why? Because the moment you do it is the moment that your flesh realizes you're trusting the spirit more than your circumstances. That's the moment your spirit begins to open up and you begin to see where he's going to answer that question and where he's going to fix that situation. At that moment, you begin to understand that God has put you in another dimension because you responded where he was instead of responding to what's comfortable to you. Does that make sense? That doesn't make sense. And so I'm going through this right now. Like I said, for those of you that didn't know about what happened with my TikTok, and the TikTok kept going and going and going and going until somebody that's a friend of mine that's following me on TikTok said, hey, this particular famous person just hit your TikTok, which is probably why that particular ad went to 2 million people, because this particular person hit your TikTok. And when that person hits your TikTok, all of a sudden everybody else in there around that person hits the TikTok. Now, what does that mean? That means now I've got to begin to focus on the things. Now hear me, pay attention. I've got to focus on the things that he gave me for when this was going to happen. You follow me? I have to begin to deal with the things that he gave me to do, so when this would happen, I transition into increase. A lot of the things that you're now doing and a lot of the things that you're dealing with, you have no idea that they are preparing you for what he's about to do. They are preparing you for what he's about to do. And because you're procrastinating, it's going to happen. And now you go back to desperation again. I got to get it done. 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 Instead of going, why don't I work the process until I see why my spirit is yelling, get this process finished? Why don't I work the process until I see the process finished? You know why? Because you are so inundated with things that challenging you, that are pressing you and pressuring you, and it becomes difficult to say, you know what, I'm going to forget all that stuff and I'm going to do this. You're not procrastinating, you're just overwhelmed. You're not procrastinating, you're just overwhelmed. And because you're overwhelmed, you find yourself wondering, why and how do I get past this? And I'm going to share this and then I'm going to go. I'm not going to stay all night. I'm going to share this with you. How do you fix it? Number one, you do like this. Whoa, knocking stuff over, guys. Number one, you do this. You get your notepad. And I'm telling you this. I'm going to keep saying this until you get it. You get your notepad. Once you get your notepad, you begin to write on your notepad. Write on your notepad what you want to happen. Don't write on your notepad what's happening. Don't write on your notepad what could happen. Write on your notepad what you want to happen. And then write the different things that you want to make happen. I saw this, I heard this ad one time. He said, write down everything that you want to do and ask yourself, which one would you choose if you knew that it would produce $1 million for you? If they all produce if they all produce what you needed, which one would you take? And that's the one you work on. If everything you wrote on your list, gave you the ability to make $1 million, which one would you do? I had to learn that. I would be here on YouTube. I would be doing these training classes. I would be teaching you how to see a flow in your life like I see in my life. There is such a flow. People, I don't think you understand. There is such a flow in my life that I have to realize. This is where you are right now. I'm supposed to be finishing the class. There's some of you right now that have been begging me for the class. You'd be amazed at how many people are going, when are you going to do the class? Just please let me know to do the class. And so because of that, I'm stressing because I want to get the class done when actually I'm just going to do the class. I'm just going to do it because I want it to be a certain level. I want the class to be a certain level. And so when I decided to make that happen, I realized that I can stop trying to make stuff happen the way I want it and just do what I've been given time to do it. I've been given plenty of time to do it. So I need to do it. Okay? So today's lesson is this. Write, follow through. Write, follow through. Get on your information, start doing what you need to do, and start following through. I'm supposed to be fixed down here. See that? So I did that happen. Follow through. Today is follow through. That's your lesson for today. Follow through. If you start something, finish it. If you start, what about get tunnel vision? Get tunnel vision. If you start something, finish it. And some of you need to start finishing some of the stuff that you've already started and didn't finish. If you start it, finish it. That's pure and simple. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you start it, finish it. And once you finish it, you realize what was the reason that I was put on this journey anyway. And when you realize that, you begin to see your challenges answered and your problem. Just like he can open up 2 million people to hit one post on my TikTok, he can open up other situations. We get stuck in our head, and when we get stuck in our head, what it's supposed to produce never reaches us because we're stuck in our head hoping that this is going to work out. We're stuck in our head hoping it's going to work out. Now, those of you that are on YouTube, subscribe, like, share this video with somebody that needs it. Get out of your head and get into your destination. God is going to open some new doors for a lot of you when you start doing that. When I made a comment today, when you start doing that, you got to open a lot of doors for you. And when he starts opening those doors for you, you'll begin to see him like you've never seen him before. Why? Because now you see him as a person that answers problems, that fixes challenges. Not somebody that you have to beg, please God, to get them. You don't have to beg God. When you beg God, you don't believe that he is. Hebrews 11:6 is something that I saw, and he said, if you come to God, you must first believe that he is and a reward of them that diligently seek him. Now, if God is the reward of them that diligently seek him, you only diligently seek something that you believe exists. You only diligently seek something that you believe exists. And so one of the reasons, and one of the reasons I'm going to start going to Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays is because I need time to write. I need time to study. This is part of my meditation time. I kind of deal with you guys. But I got to realize that those times that I'm kind of missing, Tuesdays and Thursdays, those times are not going to lack. I'm not going to miss out on those times. And so what I have to do is start realizing that there is nothing that can stop what God has for me if I do if I totally follow through. If I totally follow through, there's nothing. You don't miss out on time. You don't go, oh shoot. I had a friend of mine and she called me. She goes, I should have done this, and this, and I missed that chance. Listen, There's a line that is there's a line I always use, and it's probably not spiritual, but it's the line nevertheless. It said, "Luck favors the prepared." Luck favors the prepared. A lot of you are operating in a place where you want something to happen, but you're not prepared for it. Well, yes, I am. How long have you meditated and prayed about it? How long have you given yourself the opportunity to have a new idea placed in your mind, a new idea, a new way to do things? That's what meditation is. Meditation accesses to unlimited resources, unlimited knowledge. And so what happens is your spirit can pick up something, and the spiritual laws that you learn can cause you to do something. And overnight, I'm telling you, it just happened. It just happened to me. And I keep telling y'all this. I want to get you to where I am. I get a call this morning that says, "Hey, finish the 2 chapters of the book." Why? There's a destination. Now I can say, "Oh, I'm busy. Oh, I'm tired." I can do all those things. Or I can simply go and do those 2 chapters and give God something to work with. Write that one down. Give God something to work with. Give God something to work with. You got it? So your fulfillment and your follow through gives God something to work with. Your follow through gives God something to work with, because your follow through gives God the opportunity to say, "Okay, I know where they're going to be at this time, and I can bless that moment." If I wanted to surprise you, it's a lot easier to give you what I want to give you if I know where you are. If where you're going to be is a foregone conclusion, I can be there when you get there. If God is setting something up and you're all over the place, you're not in the designated place at the time you're supposed to be there. If you're not in the designated place at the time you're going to be there, my friend, that means I'm now going around trying to pot shot you, figure out where you are. Follow through, finish your process. Follow through, finish your process. And when you follow through and finish your process, you'll begin to see the level of what you need to see happen in your life quickly. Now, some other stuff I'll teach with the class, and I'll teach you how to do that stuff. And we're getting the class done now, and it is developed, it is ready, and it's ready to go. And so we're going to do that. I have to send you out the outline and the syllabus and some other stuff that you get when it comes to the price of your class. So I say all of that to say this, my friend. I say all of that to say this. You have to restore the spirit of your mind. And the reason we say the spirit of your mind is because in the process of your mind is the process that develops everything that you need. And you got to restore the spirit of your mind. Okay? All right, my friends. I thank you very much for your time. I thank you very much. I'm William Dallas. I don't have all my name stuff and all that tagged down and all that kind of stuff. I'll get that stuff together in a minute. I was working on a different computer. As you can see that background. I kind of decided to sit in the living room and talk about those things. So if you have any questions, comments, and concerns, please DM me and I'll answer the comments and the questions and the concerns. I know you guys are ready to do the next level, so I'm going to work on that next level so you guys are getting everything that you need. Be prepared. Be prepared. Start preparing yourself. When I announce the class, those that send in their deposit quickly will get the class at half price. I think it's half price or 45% off or something like that. Because the more people I get in, the easier it is for me to do it. So we're going to do it that way. All right. Now you have it on video. It's going to be I think it's anywhere from 30 to 50% off. And once that happens, just be ready to get started. And once you get ready to get started, please dedicate to it. Do not just get the class and have it just because people say it. This is something you're going to deal with over and over and over again. All right? Okay. For those of you who don't know, my name is William Dallas. This is the Higher Standard Chronicles. Normally there's a little name tag down here or it's over here. Name tag down here. But unfortunately, because I switched computers, I did not place it there. And the technology can't just magically do it. I have to make it happen. All right? I love you guys so much. I will see you on tomorrow, and we will talk then.